There was a time in my life when everything seemed lost. No money, no answers, no strength. But one thing changed everything: hope. This is a true story. A story of pain, waiting, fear, and faith. A story that reminds us that even in the darkest moments, hope still has power. This isn't just my story. In many ways, it's our story. It's the story of anyone who has ever faced a mountain that seemed too high to climb, a night that felt like it would never end. It all started a few years ago. I thought I had everything figured out. I had a plan, a path, a destination. But life, as it often does, had other ideas. One by one, the pillars I had built my life upon began to crumble. It started with a job loss, which was a shock. I had poured my heart and soul into that career, and suddenly it was gone. I told myself, it's okay, I'll find something else. This is just a temporary setback. But then, temporary started to feel very permanent. Weeks turned into months. The savings account, which once looked so healthy, started to shrink at an alarming rate. I remember the knot in my stomach every time I opened the mailbox, knowing there would be another bill, another final notice. The phone would ring, and I'd just stare at it, my heart pounding, too afraid to answer because I knew it was another creditor asking for money I didn't have. Doors that were once wide open started slamming shut in my face. Opportunities I was sure were a perfect fit slipped through my fingers. The rejections piled up, each one chipping away at my confidence, my sense of worth. It felt like I was screaming for help in a soundproof room. I was surrounded by people, but I had never felt more alone. The worst part wasn't the financial strain. It was the mental and emotional toll. I remember waking up every single day with this heavy blanket of dread on me. The first thoughts that flooded my mind were questions I couldn't answer. How am I going to pay the rent? What will we eat this week? When will this end? The world outside my window seemed to be moving on, full of life and purpose, while I was stuck, frozen in a state of constant anxiety. I felt forgotten. I would look at the sky, at the stars, and just wonder if anyone was listening. I felt tired. Not just physically tired from sleepless nights, but soul tired. A weariness that seeps into your bones and makes even the smallest tasks feel monumental. I was so close to giving up. The thought whispered to me in my lowest moments, just let go. It's too hard. You can't do this anymore. And honestly, a part of me wanted to listen. But something inside me, a tiny flickering ember in the midst of all that darkness, refused to be extinguished. It was a stubborn little flame. I held on. Not because I was strong, believe me. I felt like the weakest person on earth. I held on because a quiet voice whispered, this is not the end. It wasn't a loud, booming voice of certainty. It was a gentle, persistent whisper, the whisper of hope. I had a choice to make. I could surrender to the despair, let it swallow me whole. Or I could choose to listen to that whisper. I chose to believe. I chose to believe that tomorrow could be better than today. It wasn't a magical fix. I didn't suddenly win the lottery or land my dream job. It was a conscious decision I had to make every single morning when I woke up with that familiar feeling of dread. I would take a deep breath and say, okay, I don't know how, but I believe things will get better. And slowly, very slowly, things began to change. It wasn't a sudden breakthrough. It was step by step, inch by inch. It started with small things. A friend calling just to say they were thinking of me. A stranger's smile that made me feel seen for the first time in weeks. Finding a $10 bill in an old coat pocket, just enough to buy groceries for the day. These weren't miracles in the grand sense, but they were glimmers of light. They were hope in action. Each small victory gave me a little more strength. With that strength, my faith began to grow. I started to see my situation not as a punishment, but as a preparation. The pain wasn't there to break me. It was there to build me. I started applying for jobs again, but this time with a different perspective. I wasn't just looking for a paycheck. I was looking for a purpose. An opportunity came up that I would have completely overlooked before. It wasn't what I had planned, but it felt right. It was a step. I took it, and that step led to another and another. The bill started getting paid. The phone stopped being a source of fear. The sun started to feel warmer. Hope didn't just get me through the storm. It used the storm to make me stronger, more compassionate, and more grateful than I had ever been. Hope carried me through. If you are watching this and you feel stuck, if you are tired, afraid, or losing faith, this message is for you. Maybe you're facing financial hardship, a health crisis, a broken heart, or a future that feels terrifyingly uncertain. I want you to hear me clearly. What you are feeling is valid. The fear is real. The pain is real, but so is hope. Don't let go. Hope still works. It works in the quiet moments when you choose to get out of bed, even when you don't want to. It works when you reach out to a friend, even when you feel like being alone. It works when you take one small step forward, even when you can't see the whole path. Hope is not a feeling, it's a choice. It's the anchor that holds you steady when the waves of life are crashing over you. As we step into 2026, I want to wish you a happy new year. May this new year bring healing where there has been pain, light where there has been darkness, and hope where you almost gave up. No matter how 2025 ended for you, 2026 is a new beginning, a blank page. It holds new chances, new strength, and new hope. Your story is not over. The best chapters may still be unwritten. If this story touched you, like, share, and subscribe to the Power of Hope. This channel exists for one reason: to remind you that you are not alone and that there is always a reason to hope. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this today. Let's walk into 2026 together, stronger, faithful, and filled with hope. Thank you for watching.